Welcome to Worldbuild with us, the podcast where we create fantastical worlds with help from you, our listeners. My name is Rob Hilferty. I'm here with my co-hosts Daniel Quinn and Christopher Prunty. On today's episode, we're concluding our walk into the world of The Legend of Zelda, brought to you by our special patron, Jason. So thanks again, Jason. And remember that if you ever want to send us a prompt of your own, you can always send an email to worldbuildwithus@gmail.com, or you can always just shoot us a tweet or something like that. That's fine too. Anyways, we left you off on a cliffhanger last week where we threw in the twist to the world of, the fractured timeline of Zelda. Or if this were the game, I think we called it The Legend of Zelda and the Celestial Bridge. Our twist was somehow robots are involved. Now, who wants to bring up what they thought of that twist?
Well, first, I want to make sure that I get the pronunciation right, because I keep on wanting to call them Shiites, and I know that's wrong. Is it the Sheikah?
You're going to have to be more specific.
I think it's Sheikah.
Sheikah? The Zelda with the teardrop group. I like the fact that the ancients are viewed as robots through a lot of those, and I watched a bunch of videos about how they are robots / are golems, and how they go into different kind of like, is it magic, is it technology, and what are the guardians, I believe they're called, in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's always that question of what magic is compared to technology. Yeah, that's fair.
I believe they're robots. Those.
I had the same thought.
I mean, you could make the argument for sure, but is it magical? Is it magically fueled robots, which is also a thing? Is that in fact a robot, or is that just a golem at that point?
I mean, maybe it's just really advanced technology, and we're not able to distinguish it from
like that.
magic.
I would like to bring up the Thor 2 scene, the terrible, terrible movie Thor 2: The Dark World, where Natalie Portman does make that distinction. So yeah, we can go ahead and talk about that. I fucking hate that movie so much. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It was great. I think I fell asleep during it.
I like Thor 4.
3. 4 isn't out yet. Yes. Yeah.
3, the one with what's her face?
Natalie Portman?
No,
Natalie Portman,
she's
in the
boring.
first two.
The bad guy.
Loki.
No, not the girl. She was a girl.
Valkyrie is not a bad guy. She's not a villain.
She was like villainous and
Hell.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Yep.
How did we forget? Like, because in my mind, like, Hell is like barely part of that movie. But,
she's like the best part of that movie.
I completely disagree, but that's fine.
You mean
she's
Thor's
so
sister?
hammy? I love it.
She is. She knows what she's into, and she's like,
Yes.
I'm going to chew the fuck out of this scene. It's kind of like Jeremy Irons in the Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my god, I love him in that movie.
But just
and that movie is so bad.
Yes, it's fun bad though.
It's so
think
bad,
it's
it's good. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Jeremy Irons is great in that movie. Holy shit,
he's
so
fantastic.
Fucking fun. Yes. I think Kate Blanchett doesn't do it as hammy as Jeremy Irons, but she's definitely chewing.
She's trying. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that she could out ham Jeremy Irons.
She could,
but I think that she actually is like, look, I'm going to treat this with a modicum of dignity, which is the opposite of what we're doing here with Chris's Tenet. So,
no, I actually, I'm on board with Chris's Tenet because
I agree. I'm just being a dick. Yeah.
No. Well, so one of the factions I had was also involved. Like they call the machines are from the ancient ones, right?
Yes.
Right, but what were you going to get into, Chris?
The faction that I wanted to bring up was essentially the makers of that technology, which they hint at might have been the Sheikah, or the ancient Sheikahs or anything. And if I can expand onto my faction, it's actually going through some of the lore of the games that I looked at was the Guardians, when they were either corrupted or whenever they came online, they went to attack the Temple of Time. And we spoke about how time, multiple dimensions and everything. What if we had it that the Sheikah or the ancient Sheikah aren't essentially ancients as much as a parallel kind of timeline dimension thing? And the reason that they want to destroy the Temple of Time / timelines is so that theirs does not get collapsed into the others, like we talked about.
So you're talking about a timeline where the Sheikah are the dominant and perhaps technologically advanced compared to where the other Hyrulean ages might be.
Yeah, and what they're essentially doing is acting as time cops.
Okay,
Oh,
are we
I like
talking
that.
about? Are we talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme time cops?
No, we're talking about the one that has Whoopi Goldberg and a dinosaur.
What?
Gotcha.
What is that
Okay.
one?
I believe that's called Teddy and the T-Rex with Whoopi Goldberg. I
Wow,
know
I've
that
never
movie
seen
as well.
that.
It's so not worth your time. Get it? Time
No,
con?
it parallels our world perfectly.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it does. Oh God. Actually, so it's funny you should mention that because the thing that I wanted to add to the twist as well was the robots are a major reason the timeline is fracturing out of control. And I like this idea that the Sheikah that we're dealing with here, they are they are the reason that the timeline is fracturing, is that they refuse to be, because in all the other timelines, the Sheikah are the ancients, right? So this is the one time where they're like, we're not going to lose our empire. We refuse. And so they've built these robots to kind of manually stitch or break apart the timeline. And it's like a defiant, like, we refuse to die type thing, but also we're the reason the timelines are breaking apart because we should not be. It's like a paradox almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was that your idea, or was
that was how I was approaching the twist that we had? Yeah.
Oh wow, that seamlessly goes in.
Well, no, my idea was just the robots are a major reason the timeline is fracturing out of control.
Okay.
But when you bring up the Sheikah, I'm like, oh, cool, I got an idea. Perfect.
Okay.
Do we know like what the relationship, and at least in Zelda, because I don't know this, like how the ancient ones and the machines like are related to the goddesses? Because like our main antagonist is like the time goddess, right?
Sure. Let's go ahead and
Sort
call
of.
them an antagonist. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's an argument to be made that they're in the right in this thing,
Right.
But
when I was looking through it, there's very little lore about it. It's a mysterious thing, but one of the beliefs or things that is in Hyrule Historia, is that one of the?
Yeah, that's the book. That's the literal book of canon. That
the
Nintendo
book of
put out.
canon.
Yeah.
One of the beliefs that someone has, and it's just like a one sentence thing, is where they believe that they might have been cursed by the gods.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an opposition between the two of them then.
Yeah.
Actually, what might be cool here is that what we're witnessing is like the beginning of the curse of the gods, right? Like, it's, again, if we're going into one of our favorite tropes that is like cyclical natures of time, then, maybe that's what we're seeing here, is that this is how they begin to be cursed in the first place.
I blame True Crime for that. I'm sorry, True Detective.
Oh, time being a flat circle and all.
Yes.
I love that.
Understandable. Oh, it's a great show. Goddamn. Go watch. Stop listening to our shitty podcast and go watch True Detective. It's fucking great. Not season 2 though.
Yeah, I heard that second one sucks.
Season 3 I've heard is pretty good, but I got so gun shy after season 2 that I'm like,
Season 1 is all they needed.
Yeah.
I think
season 1 was fantastic.
I'm glad they do it as an anthology.
True.
Yeah. All right. So Daniel, what was your approach to the robots?
I mean, weirdly enough, I also was thinking about the machines of the ancient ones, and I was reading about them, and from what I and I thought that there was some connection. I wanted there to be some connection between what Zelda calls the interlopers or the shadow people, and when I was reading, I think they're also connected to the Sheikah, if not are the Sheikah. So they are, right? Is that true?
I mean, in as much as I've tried to wrap my mind around some of the lore, yes.
Okay. So what I was thinking is like the use of the machines, but of the ancient ones, transforms you into an interloper or shadow person, and that the Sheikah in this universe can use them without harm because they were transformed by the use of them. So now I'm curious, like, okay, well, if the machines are a resistance to this time stuff that the goddess is up to, like how does that work with the faction? And I was also thinking like there would then be like a conflict of like finding one of the Sheikah who maybe are part of that death cult, Zelda's death cult that we came up with, to join the party to help them because they need to use the machines.
Oh, this is actually something that I kind of wanted to talk about really briefly, is that this is supposed to be like creating a setting based around Zelda. And we've done something inadvertently that I think is really brilliant, which is if you're putting this and playing this as a tabletop RPG, like what's the problem when you have serialized or canonized fiction in a setting? Everyone wants to play one of those characters, right?
Right.
And brilliantly on our part, we've actually circumvented the problems by having the multiple timelines. So if one person wants to play Link and the other person wants to play Link, guess what? They're just different versions of Link that you can play.
Right.
And I wanted to point that out because as I was listening to the episode again to get prepared, I'm like, wait a minute, this is actually pretty smart.
And they're different versions. That's kind of neat. Yeah, because you could both of you could play Ganon, and one might be like, a Ganon who hasn't reached his Ganon status yet, and maybe it's a female Ganon, or you could play like post Ganon, from a previous universe.
And you could still play your dark, edgy Ganon if you wanted to be like Demon King Ganon. Absolutely,
Edgelord Ganon. You could play him too.
Yeah, I was like blown away at how well that we kind of circumvented a lot of that nonsense. So. All right, I apologize. Let's get back to the twist. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting today. I'm just one of those people.
I'm trying to understand. Okay, so I'm trying to understand the big picture here. So we've got Time Goddess trying to set things right, or whether that's good or bad, by undoing this multiple universe stuff, right?
Right.
And then we've got the machines, which don't want that to happen. Is that correct?
Which I think we've now established as part of the Sheikah Empire, like this ancient Sheikah Empire. Correct.
So they're opposed to the goddess, and I'm introducing that the use of the machines is what turns people into Sheikah. So I don't know what the ancient ones are. Maybe they preceded the Sheikah and created them in some way or somehow.
Well, I think I think here is where we can kind of get into the cyclical nature of time.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's where we're getting into here.
Okay. And that's also something that I always loved about the like Aboleth and Elithids was the fact that they were like refugees of their own future / past.
Yeah. Absolutely. And not only that, but when you're talking about Zelda, you have to talk about messing around with time. I mean, like Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time, and like time and time manipulation play a big part in the series.
It could be like a bootstrap paradox as far as the ancient ones / the Sheikah go. Like they created themselves through like a bootstrap paradox.
Are you saying, is it a Bill and Ted timeline, or is it a Back to the Future?
I'm thinking
timeline?
like the anti-time situation at the end of Star Trek. Bootstrap paradox.
I swear we're gonna have one episode where we don't talk about Star Trek.
Never.
This is not that episode.
Oddly enough, that will be when we get a prompt where someone wants us to do it in Star Trek.
Someone give us a Star Trek prompt, please.
I agree.
I mean, I can't stop anyone, but like,
1 second, I'm making a fake Gmail.
We can then have like a watch-a-thon with Rob, and we can show him some key episodes.
Can we just watch DS9? I kind of want to get to know.
We could do DS9. We could do DS9.
All right, cool. Actually, I should probably just skip season 1 of TNG and just go straight into season 2. Huh?
Yeah, that's true. Although there's a few good episodes in season 1.
It really? Because I got like halfway through and I didn't give a fuck about any of them. So
because like there's 22 episodes.
Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Q fucking sucks. Q is awful.
I love Q. He is my favorite.
All right.
Jordan hates Q too. Sorry.
Okay, this is why Jordan's great.
My wife.
Yes.
My wife.
So speaking of dumb shit, I'm going to go into my faction now because I'm just bursting at the seams to get it out there. So I don't know if you've noticed, but we've taken Zelda and we've gone in a pretty serious place with it, right? But Zelda is not always known for the darkness necessarily. Like we had the edgy phase with Twilight Princess and stuff like that, but I wanted a little bit more fun. I wanted a little bit more whimsy. And so I've created the Groose Guild, which is Groose, for those of you who do not know. Groose is the dumbass character from Skyward Sword who is Link's rival. And I'm going to pause the podcast here so Daniel and Chris can listen to his theme. All right, and we're back. They have listened to the theme, and now they know everything that they need to know about Groose. He is basically a slightly less evil version of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He is dumb and broy and jockish, and he's kind of got like a good heart, kinda, but he's also just kind of dumb. This is obviously not the. I'm not going with the fan theory that Groose is the progenitor to the Garuda. That is actually a thing that exists. That Ganon is like a direct descendant of Groose. I'm not going that line.
That's horrible.
But I want there to be, because I was thinking like these factions, if we're introducing them into like multiple timelines, there has to be a collective, like they have to exist across all the timelines. And I want the Groose Guild to just be fucking up on every single timeline because they're fun and they're dumb and it's great. And that's my faction.
So what do they do? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Are they just all different versions of him?
Yes. Just like we have different versions of Ganon and just like we have different versions of Zelda and Link, we're going to have all Groose all the time.
What's the guild do? Like, what are they about?
They be Groose.
They just do Groose things. They're mostly...
What does that mean?
No one knows. It's provocative.
Oh my god. But what, is he like a merchant or a... Oh, who is this guy? Like he's like a bizarre turnip man. With just horrible smile.
Groose is great. Thank you very much.
What is his job?
His job is to win the race during Skyward Sword, where he has to race birds and shit. That's his whole deal. He's basically like a 1980s like jock villain. Oh, and I want an entire guild of them.
Oh, a guild of these villains.
Yeah, they're not villains. They're like friendly, slightly evil villains. Right?
Are they like I don't know, like outdoorsmen?
Yeah.
I mean, you did say like Gaston.
Let's go with that.
So it's like a bunch of rangers that are goofy and dumb.
Yes. Like I said, Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Think of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
I see. Or take like the ranger from Lord of the Rings and make him more like Homer Simpson is what you're saying.
You mean
that's
Aragorn?
Not a bad way. I mean, that's not a bad way of putting it, I guess.
Were you trying to upset me?
I was trying to find a common tongue.
Well, anyway, the real Zelda fans will know who Groose is, and I'm sure they're cackling with delight that I've introduced an entire faction of Grooseites to just fuck up all the timelines simultaneously.
Well, I'm glad that should make them happy.
Your bewilderment only empowers me, by the way, so this is totally fine.
I have faith that you know what you're doing here.
All right, so Chris, Daniel, why don't you go ahead and roll into your guild now, or your faction?
I had a similarly absurd inspiration. I was looking for little known or like lesser known Easter egg or / secrets of Zelda, and I came across Old Man Ho-Ho, who apparently is these well, there's one and there's also a bunch of these little guys that they're these weird old men with bloodshot eyes who are looking through telescopes a lot, and they're from Phantom Hourglass. And from what I understand, they have knowledge of the Triforce. And I think in the game, they give you a chart as to where to find pieces of it. And they claim to be from a place called Way Away, which is some distant, far off location. So I'm thinking, okay, these are pretty weird dudes. Yeah. So I'm like, well, maybe Way Away really isn't just a faraway island. It's like an island in multiple of these realities. But it's the same island in all the realities, but it exists in different places. So it's like, it transcends the realities. It's like one of a kind. And these weird dudes like actually are time resistant in some way. So they're helpful to get information from because they know stuff, in caps and quotes. And they know things about the Triforce that the heroes in the setting would really desperately need, but they're also really weird and obviously hard to find because, I guess in the game you encounter a little group of them, but it's not from their homeland.
I see that someone did real deep wiki dive on what's the
Yes.
fucking weirdest character that I can get. Somehow scrolled past Groose and got to Old Man Ho-Ho.
I mean, the name Old Man Ho-Ho, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'm like, I gotta go with this. And maybe these guys like collect stuff because I think they look like the kind of guys like Santa elves. They'd be collecting weird crap,
Yeah. I mean, I respect it. I did an entire Groose guild, so I can't knock you on your fucking Old Man Ho-Ho collective over here.
That's what they're called, the Old Man Ho-Ho collective.
Although, to be serious, I think that actually be kind of fun because it's like you have like what is essentially an information broker, right?
Yes.
And that's fun. That's interesting.
They sell stuff. Maybe they sell information, which is a cool point because they exist. They are a time. What do you call it? Like time independent from the rest of the dimensions.
A lot of the conflicts that you see throughout Zelda also have to do with different realms or different things that are beneath. So, the Shadow Temple and kind of like the Shadow Realm.
This is different than like low rule and high rule, correct? This is the Twilight or
kind of. There's the realm of light, the realm of shadow, and then the in between, which I think is referred to as the realm of twilight.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Now, I forget the name of the village, but it's where the Shadow Temple was, and it is linked a lot to the Sheikah. I really think I'm mispronouncing that, but in it is believed that some of the bosses and creatures there are Sheikah that are kind of tainted with shadow. Like the main boss that I do remember was Bongo Bongo.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember him. And let me just show a picture of Bongo Bongo because I love.
Is he the one with the hands in his eyes? Yeah. I remember Bongo Bongo.
Yeah, and it is believed that he might have just been a Sheikah that got tainted with shadow, kind of thing. And the off split that I want to do when I was saying that the ancients are acting as time cops, I want this to be kind of what happens to them when they get corrupted in a different timeline. So say that you are located in timeline A and it gets collapsed into timeline B, but you have some sort of thing that preserves you because you're not from either timeline. This is what happens to you. Something like this.
You become a giant monster with eyes for hands. Or
You become a monster.
So
More or less, you become a monster.
Yeah, you become a Twilly, or isn't that what happens? Isn't that how all the Twilly are born and why they all look super messed up except for sexy Midna?
Is anything truly sexy in Zelda?
My folder on my computer would say yes.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that actually. Look,
I may
Ganondorf
not
can plow
lore.
my fields any day. That's all.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Except for Fat Ganondorf. I'm not body shaming, but I do prefer other versions of Ganondorf.
Do you just mean literal pig Ganondorf?
Wait,
or
you're going to make me really Google this? I hate you. Oh,
Google what? Fat Ganondorf?
No, what Ganondorf really looks like.
Wait,
Ganondorf is a sexy Garuda man. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's a dude? Okay.
What?
Let's see.
What?
Wow.
Ganondorf.
No, I mean like he's as opposed to a pig man.
Yes.
Whoa.
Okay.
Daniel. Holy shit, man.
I don't know a lot about Zelda.
When's the last Zelda game you played?
Zelda 2 on Nintendo. Last I saw, he was a giant pig man.
Oh my god.
Actually, that one had this weird, I don't know, giant demon turnip at the end and an evil Link. I didn't even get to fight Ganon.
It's again on turnips. I don't know why.
Oh my god, Daniel, this is...
You remember at the end of that game, like you had to fight yourself and then immediately fight this giant demon turnip. I don't think it was Ganon. Was it Ganon?
Yeah, Ganon is a giant pig. Ganondorf
look like a pig.
All right, we've just sent some screenshots to Daniel in Discord.
Let me see. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Like, I think you mean that's a lot of man to handle. Yeah, and yes, I.
What
agree
is this weird penis-looking thing?
That's.
I did not share that.
his penis. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, there was like the doofy turnip guy, right? Got Gristle.
This was a dream that you had when you had a fever after beating Zelda.
Apparently,
But
Daniel
what's this
has been
flower?
talking about an entirely different Nintendo franchise for the last episode.
You got the pirated version where.
But what's this flower penis that you sent me after the picture of Gris?
That's
Oh,
Bongo
no.
Bongo. What
No, that's
the?
Bongo Bongo.
Oh, so he's a flower penis. I see.
No. Wait, actually, I'm not one to judge for that, so maybe you're right. Rob,
I
if you
don't
wanna
know
weigh in.
how much of this I'm cutting, but I'm definitely cutting some of it. Oh my god. Anyway, Ganondorf is hot. We can move on.
Yeah.
We can move to the. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
There were time cops.
Something about people being turned into monsters in parallel
Oh,
dimensions.
you brought up.
Guys, this entire episode is such a fucking disaster, and I love it. Like
I think it's
love
great.
that.
No, you were
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
someone from the Shadow Realm and
Yes.
them being attractive, and I don't. And then we went into Ganondorf, and you thought he was only the pig.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. Oh, because you had mentioned like, is anyone truly sexy in Zelda? And
Yes.
I said, yeah, it's Ganondorf. Okay, yeah, we're back. Okay, we're back on track. We're back on track. Holy I'm probably gonna keep all of that
Do
because
it.
that was just such a glorious train wreck.
Do it.
Fuck. All right. What's your conflict, Daniel? And please give me Daniel, please save us from that train wreck with your conflict. What is your
we
conflict?
mean with the flower penises that I was talking about before?
Oh no.
Daniel, please just save us from conflict.
So my conflict is very simple, and I thought it would be appropriate because it involves we already have time as being an antagonist. I was thinking like there needs to be a time limit to the solution of the overall issue in the game. So if it's in the game format, and I bet players would hate this, but I'm interested in it, is you can't just like wander around forever to all these realms. Like we established that the more you travel between realms, the more things change. So I'm thinking like either there's a time limit before things go really bad, or the more you dilly-dally, the weirder things will get, and then the more difficult.
So you just want to do Majora's Mask?
Is that what happens in that game?
Oh, absolutely.
how
There's
you're
a
creating this in a
hard time
vacuum.
limit of like 3 days, but
Oh,
the way
okay.
that time manipulation works, you can kind of go back and forth.
I'm thinking like maybe it's not like a hard time limit, but that like the more if you go from realm to realm to realm, the more you do that, the more the whole timeline gets polluted, and then the weirder things get. So I think coupled with Chris's concept of like being transformed into a monster, that might be kind of cool. Well, I was saying like with the concept of like the potential for being transformed into a monster, if that could be coupled with like traversing through these realms, it has a time limit in the sense that, like it gets riskier and riskier. It would be neat, from a perspective of like conflict, because now you're like taking risks when you're traveling each time.
How do we integrate that? Is it like a sliders or is it a quantum leap situation where every time you move into the body of a different character?
I think maybe the realms are related in ways that we don't understand. So maybe it's like, okay, you're not literally like replacing people. You go to another realm and you could meet your parallel. So you could meet the other Zelda there, right? And it's not going to cause a problem. So they're different realities, but they're related to each other in some subtle way. So like, say you killed that Zelda. Now maybe in another realm something weird happens because of that. Like there's somehow, maybe it's the archetypes that are bound together, that if you break those archetypes, things get fucked up.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know how we reckon with that though. That's okay.
I mean, I think it links up to what the time goddess is trying to do. She's trying to make things consistent through the archetypes, right? She wants them all to go back to the way they were.
Just trying to clean things up.
Your party's like wrecking stuff. Like you're going from timeline to timeline to stop her, right? And part of that is convincing evil Link in this timeline to give up his Linkness and become a farmer, right? Or to take Zelda off the throne because she hates being Zelda, and let her, become a warrior in this particular realm. And that messes with the time goddess's plans. So maybe that's the effects. Like when you change it in this one realm, you fuck up other realms.
So your goal in each new realm of Zelda is to find the Triforce of people and then disrupt the Triforce in some way so you can continue to mess with the. So by doing that,
We're the bad guys.
basically, but no, because
the
you're
bad.
trying to save all the timelines from,
Yeah.
or potentially, right? Well, the idea would be is, like this is the plan that the time goddess has.
Yeah.
And then by disrupting the Triforce in some way, you extend your clock just a little bit.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like XCOM.
So yeah, basically. Okay. Yeah, that we can fuck with that. We can certainly do something with that. All right. My conflict is actually way more meta than that. And you'll excuse me because it's kind of cheating, but my conflict is one that is universal, actually, because I was thinking about the themes in The Legend of Zelda. And, one of the major features of The Legend of Zelda is, of course, the sense of adventure and the sense of exploration that you feel, right? Like when you're well, Daniel wouldn't know anything about this really, but when you're like cresting over a hill and you see, like the fields for the first time, or when you first get, Epona, and you're able to like traverse all around, and you're going into the Lost Woods and you're going into the lava area and stuff like that. There's this really cool sense of like grand scale of exploration. Same with Breath of the Wild as well, right? Where you can basically just walk in a direction and then experience all sorts of cool adventures. My biggest conflict is how you evoke that in a tabletop RPG, because realistically, I tend to see exploration and the payoff to exploration to be visual. When you see something, that's when you get like the awe, right? So my question, my conflict, and I know it's cheating, I don't give a fuck. How do you evoke that sense of awe in exploration in a tabletop game?
That's a great question. I think part of it might be engaging the players in collaborative world building, and so this is a weird way to answer it, but like if you kind of prompt them to build, like you're describing this landscape that Zelda can travel through that has all these vistas, basically. Like if you invite the players to add things to these vistas, suddenly the world feels bigger to them. Like if you tell them like, okay, we're building this desert landscape, what's the temple that's on the other side of it, or what ocean could be out there beyond the desert? Like they start creating the vista in their mind. So that might be one way to approach it.
But you're not experiencing that same sense of grandeur when you create it, right? Like you can't. Like I suppose that's kind of what I'm trying to get at is, I want players in a Zelda game to crest over a hill and see some geographic feature and be like, whoa. And
then it might have to be randomness then. Like, so in a combination with that, because if you have if you have those prompts, but you have random generation, then there's a sense of discovery. If they have to say, let's say you roll on a table and you say like, okay, you're going to give me a temple, and there's like multiple things that could happen. They discover that thing essentially at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want listeners' input on this as well, because I really do feel like this is a tough question, and I want to know how people out there have kind of gotten around it, or I want to know if people have ever felt that during an exploration phase of the game, because that's something that I've always wanted to. That's one of my favorite things about tabletop games and adventure games in general, is the sense of awe that you feel while you're exploring. And I find it's difficult to evoke in role-playing games. So if I want to hear from, the listeners, what your experiences are with that, what you think works and what you think has worked as a DM or player, just tell me about a time, but I want to hear about it because it's a problem that I still haven't been able to crack myself. I had a backup, by the way, if the meta conflict isn't enough. I just want to throw in low rule and high rule in there somehow. Low rule is it has the like nega triforce, where they have like the hero of cowardice and like weakness and wisdom or some shit like that, right? Where it's like basically the opposite world of Hyrule. It's in Link Between Worlds and other games that I'm blanking on at the moment. But that's
wait. Is there actually a Nega Triforce?
Yeah.
Oh
Actually, if you look at the Triforce, there's space for another Triforce in between the other ones.
Oh,
Upside
neat.
down, though.
What does it
Yeah.
do?
It's just the evil Triforce, basically.
Oh,
Or
okay.
actually, it's not even evil. It's just like opposite world Triforce. So
Cowardice, stupidity, and weakness.
I love that.
actually, in Link Between Worlds, there is the spoilers for Link Between Worlds game that you guys aren't going to play, but you should because it's fucking great. But no, they're in that game. It's revealed much later on that the hero of Courage is actually a huge coward in Low Rule, and that's why he escapes to Hyrule to sell you like adventuring gear and stuff like that because he doesn't have the courage to actually face his demons and whatnot. But yeah, I thought that was a cool little twist and everything like that. But anyway, yeah, so Low Rule's involved, fill in the blanks, like they just want their timeline to be the major timeline. Maybe they want to flip polarities so they're not just shit on by Hyrule all the time. That's also a Link Between Worlds thing, but that's fine.
Maybe that's where the machines come from, and the ancient ones.
Well, perhaps.
Yeah.
Explain.
Because we were thinking of them as like almost antagonists to the Time Goddess, but also not necessarily part of the party. So maybe like the Sheikah come from that realm, and they're opposed to the Time Goddess, but they're not really helping the party.
Okay, maybe they escape to Low Rule to avoid detection from the Time Goddess or something like that.
Yes, I like that.
Okay, yeah, that we can definitely do that.
Are you saying they're laying low?
Yes.
Yeah. You're not quite. They're laying Low Rule.
Low Rule.
Yeah, exactly.
We're here all day, guys.
Oh man, remember that time that we lost all of our subscribers and
No.
fans? Yeah,
It was great.
too bad.
It's when I mentioned the flower penis.
Honestly, it's not even that bad. Chris has said worse. We've had to cut it, but he's definitely said worse. Well, I think that wraps up our conflicts and factions. So that means that we're going to roll into our hooks for the Legend of Zelda, which I mean, like, there's already so many goddamn hooks, but why not come up with some more of them, right?
I hope we land on the Star Trek. Someday
It's a weird
we're gonna have
episode.
to tie them up and then just make them watch all of it. All of it.
Who's gonna pull it out so I can pee in the middle?
It's okay. I'll do it for you. As long as
Alright,
it means you watch all of it.
All right, that's fine. Oh my god. Okay, where are we? All right. So here's where we get really weird with the plot hooks. Okay, we're basically going from the very bog standard fantasy that is Zelda, and now we're gonna throw in different genre things that we can kind of fuck around with for plot hooks. So let's see what happens first. We're gonna roll. And how do we make Zelda? How do we create a plot hook in Zelda that is horror inspired?
I've got one for that. That was my main one.
Okay, go ahead.
So I am a huge fan of 2nd edition Ravenloft.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so like Zelda, I don't think lends itself necessarily. I mean, it could, but I don't really see Zelda so much as being like a zombie horror movie or like a alien horror kind of situation. But I could see it being like Ravenloft, because Ravenloft's got this like Victorian dark gothic styling, and I can see. Yeah, like I could see Ganondorf or Ganon as being like an Alucard or like a Strahd vampire character, and I could see Zelda being that gothic knight, and I could see Zelda Link and Zelda being like in an elaborate gown, and she's like got a crossbow or something.
Okay, I'm fully in love with gothic horror.
Yeah.
Zelda. Like that whole concept is really awesome.
And mists everywhere and spookiness, but like not bloody horror spooky, but like romantic spooky,
Like Wallmaster spooky, like
What's that?
Re-Dead spooky. These are all enemies from the Zelda games that you have.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that I don't know, but yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
The Wall Master is terrifying because it's like this giant hand that comes out of nowhere and snatches
Oh.
you up and like
Unpleasant.
pulls you away, and you can struggle free. Oh, it's great. It's great fun and terrifying.
And it makes sense because the Domains of Dread kind of parallels these separate parallel realities we're talking about.
Yeah, you could have all of the sages represent like one of the Dreadlords, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that was easy and fun. I now kind of want to just have an entire Zelda game that is, like spooky Ravenloft now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What do we got next? We're gonna roll for another genre, and that genre is somewhere over this way. All right. So the next hook that we have to do is going to be related to. All right. How do we take The Legend of Zelda and turn it into a superhero franchise?
You could just power up the Triforce significantly, or at least allow them to tap into it more.
That is a brilliant way to create superheroes, I believe. Like when Ganondorf gets the Triforce of power, he's basically Superman.
You could also do it where I believe in one of the games, the Triforce split into Triforce shards.
Oh, okay. Now
So
we're
you
getting there.
So that would allow more people to have like different variances of power. Because imagine if you, not to say that you had like all of the shards of power, but what if you had like 6 shards of power, 6 shards of courage, and like 2 of wisdom?
Yeah, and now I'm just picturing Groose getting some of these shards of Triforce power.
Why are you
Oh
doing
dear
that?
God.
Because Groose is amazing. Groose needs more love, damn it.
Jesus.
I know he's terrible. First of all, I know he's terrible. Yes, thank you.
He looks like he was from Final Fantasy, but he like lost his way and ended up in Zelda on accident.
So we've got like superpowered Groose, okay, because of the shards. That's actually a very simple and easy way to kind of do that. Plus, I would imagine that we can even have it go a step further where each shard of the Triforce is different compared to who picks it up and what it evokes from them. Like each character has a different imprint on the Triforce in some way. Actually, wait a minute. What we could do is like we could have a storyline, and I know this is going off the rails. I don't give a fuck. We can have a storyline where the Triforce shatters and everyone is like freaking out, and so there's obviously this this struggle or this like clamor to get all of the shards of the Triforce back together again.
Mm-hmm.
But what they recognize is that when they pick up these shards of the Triforce, they gain superpowers in some way, or they gain some kind of power related to which piece that they get. And then this is actually just the Triforce's way of absorbing power again, is that there's like this symbiotic relationship where yes, they give the person superpowers, but they're also like gaining energy by them using that shard of the Triforce as well.
I like the idea too of since the Triforce pieces are bound to like some adjective, that it brings out that adjective in them as a superheroic power.
Absolutely. I mean,
so it's like unique for each person.
Right. And power isn't just about, super strength. It could be a number of things. And I think that's kind of where you get into it.
I mean, ironically, I can view it as, I think it's called the power triangle, where it would be like...
the Triforce. Yeah.
Triforce.
No. But I mean, utility, defense, offense kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, and you could see
I
courage.
liked it better when it was a dumb idea that you're just trying to say Triforce wrong.
Oh, shut up. It could courage is defense, power is, power is offense, and wisdom is utility.
Oh, that actually makes sense. I could definitely see that. Would wisdom be utility? Well, see, now here's where we get into the nitty gritty, and I feel like this is an entirely different conversation.
It's a point buy system, and it's going to be outlined like this.
It's all GURPS too, by the way.
Oh God, like Lego. It's like RPG Legos.
I'm shocked that you didn't do Mutant Mind. Wait, is it Master and Mutant Minds?
Mutants and Masterminds.
That's...
See, I went with GURPS because GURPS is more complex. So
no, we're going to use Fatal.
Punchy.
Our final plot hook for the Zelda franchise is going to be rolled again because that was superhero. Here we go.
Even
It's
more
going to be modern day. So let's take Zelda and put it in the modern day. And I think this is perhaps more bizarre than the sci-fi option, because to me, I can see Link and Zelda in like starships and laser swords and stuff like that. I have a much harder time putting them in a modern day setting.
Well, are we talking about like literally converting it to modern day concepts, or is it like Mario the live action movie? Which one are we doing here?
I want it to be that one so much.
Although it was at both.
I am not often left speechless, Daniel, but
Are you talking about the classic film with Mario and Luigi Mario?
Luigi
yes,
Mario, of course,
yes.
yeah.
Like
With
I'm
Fast
asking, like,
Luigi.
are we? Is it like, you know how like Joss Whedon will do like a modern day Shakespeare play? Is it like that, or is it like more fantastic, like the Mario live action movie?
I'm gonna go. Okay,
I want the live action movie.
You can't invoke the name of the live action Mario Brothers movie and not expect us to immediately go there, because that's what we do now.
Because I love that movie, like Princess Peach. It's like, it's so cool. It just makes sense, you know.
Oh my god!
What, Daniel? I really question you in general.
I love that movie because like turning Mario into live action already is like, are you kidding me? Like, why? And yet it works. Like, it's King Koopa as that dude who like at the very end
As
turns
Trump,
into a dinosaur. I know, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Shout out to Cody Johnston and Some More News for their 2-hour long movie that they did that heavily features the Mario Brothers movie. So go check that out as well. It is actually fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So how? Okay. So who is Ganondorf in the modern day? Is he a Yakuza crime boss with a bunch of like sexy lady assassins? Because that's where my brain.
Yeah, I think so. Like
Like
that,
that.
like maybe leaning business dude-ish too.
Oddly enough, I could see Link just being a grizzled, disenfranchised soldier.
He's kind of wafy though.
No, he's a farm boy. He's like the everyman. He can't be a grizzled soldier.
Whoa! He was drafted.
No, that doesn't make a difference to me. He's still, the whole thing is that he comes from nothing. He's the literal hero from the hero's journey.
What's the guy in Twilight, the vampire?
Edward Cullen?
But what's the actor?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson would play Link.
Robert Pattinson's a good actor, though. I don't know if he'd do that.
But he could definitely play Link. He's wafy enough.
Whoa! Are you saying any of the actors that were?
Wait a minute. It's Chris
actors?
Evans. Chris Evans is Link. Chris Evans.
No, I hate Chris Evans. I hate him.
How do you hate Chris Evans? He's great.
Wasn't he? Unless I'm confusing him with the guy who did Kirk in Star Trek, the new Star Trek.
Oh, that's not Chris Evans. That's
okay.
Chris Evans is Captain America and the guy from Knives Out.
Oh, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Chris Evans is great. Yeah,
he's fine.
Okay. Or actually, you know who we could also do? We could just do Ryan Gosling and have the the Legend of Zelda like drive.
Very trying.
Or
Serious.
God forgives. Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
God. No, we should just let's cast Mark Hamill as he is today as Link.
That makes less sense. Okay. We've clearly failed this plot hook. I'm jettisoning. I apologize.
But what about Yakuza? Yakuza again? I thought that was brilliant.
Okay, Yakuza Canon is kind of fun, yes, but whatever, it's fun.
Keira Knightley is Zelda, or no? I know who Zelda is. It's who's the? Because I want to do like a gothy Zelda. So like, what's the girl in that bitch in Apartment 13? That's the name of the show.
No,
she's also a superhero.
Thank you very much. Oh, you're talking about Jessica Jones's actress?
Yes. What's the actress?
I could definitely see that. Oh, are you talking about Kristen Ritter from
Yes,
Jessica Jones?
yes, she's
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see her as a cool, like, edgy kind of
Yeah.
Zelda. Yeah, for
Like Link
sure.
will be kind of doofy, so like, Chris Evans would play like a goofy kind of dumb guy, like a dumb jock guy, and she'd be
No,
like really
no,
smart and
that's
goth.
Groose. We
Groose.
need Groose. We need a Groose.
Groose is even dumber and jockier.
I actually think Ryan Gosling as Zelda, he could be like a silent protagonist too.
Oh my
That would
Yeah.
be perfect. Oh my god, this is so dumb. I love
I'm
it.
into it now. I want to watch this terrible
Never.
movie.
Oh fuck! All right, we're ending. We need to end this.
$7 billion budget. Let's go.
Give him like 700 million.
Actually, we could probably pitch this to the show writers for Game of Thrones, and they'd probably do it.
Those idiots. Yeah.
Exactly. That shit up.
Yep.
Well, thank you for listening to our dumb bullshit for another hour. We love you very much. Remember that if you want to hear us ramble about your dumb bullshit idea for about an hour or two, you can always go ahead and shoot us an email at worldbuildwithus@gmail.com, or you can shoot us a Twitter tweet over at Let's Worldbuild. Alternatively, if you want to come hang out with us, come do it on our Discord. And if you're feeling particularly generous, or if you want some sweet VIP features, go to our Patreon and send us some money. You don't have to, but it's cool if you do. Anyway, remember, so thanks again for listening. Remember that we love you very much. We'll see you next week because we're going to get through this together.